Happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is Disconnect to Connect One Word Conversations. One Word Conversations is a self-discovery, relationship building conversation designed to invite us to look at our language. Many times we come up with all the lovely words that we can speak of and still find ourselves in a place of disconnection. We learn quickly that words don't just come with definitions, they come with stories, emotions, feelings, expectations. So I would suggest if we have a one word conversation, we'll learn a little bit more about ourselves, the person that we're speaking with, and maybe, just maybe, build on our relationships. One More Conversation is brought to you by I Am William Brown, a place to help you be yourself and live your life. One way that I spotlight what's available at I Am William Brown /the store is our U cards. Our U cards are a part of the Beyond the Shell series. Beyond the Shell is a series of children's books, The Journey to Stay You, and Finding You Beyond What Protects You. So the cards that I picked for today that are intention setting cards are I am enough, you are complete, and it's you I like. Mr. Rogers. I don't know if you remember the Mr. Rogers song, but I put that in there. And every time I say it's you I like, I hear Mr. Rogers singing in the background. So I just showed my age right there, but that is great. So this is the moment where I invite you to like, share, add questions, comments, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Do all those things to let me know that you are also a part of this conversation. So the word today is get. It's like the energy of that word is very interesting. But every time I say get, it's like I feel it. So as I do, I invite my guest in so we can have a conversation. Good morning.
Good morning, William. How are you?
I am doing great. This is the moment where I invite my guests to introduce themselves however it feels comfortable to them.
I'm so excited for today. So, I would just love to say hi. My name is Justine Mader. I am a wife and mama to two beautiful little boys from Minnesota, and it's the frozen tundra this time of year. But more than my business, I'm a friend, I'm a mentor, and I'm a woman that is just seeking to become the best version of myself. My business profile will say leader, coach, speaker, business partner, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I think the number one thing that William has caused me to realize is that it's about the relationships. It's about who we are. And sometimes that relationship with ourselves is overlooked. And so it's one of those things that I would love to say that, as much as I'm here with William, I'm here with me too. And I get
Wow.
to have this conversation. So I'm super excited for today.
Wow. Yeah. I really felt that. Thank you. There's some conversations that we have that we think we're in and then we get in, right? Right? And
Yes.
I think I just got in the conversation, right?
Yay!
So that's great. So how does the word get land for you?
So it's so crazy. When I was thinking about the conversations and I listened to a couple of the ones that you had hosted to see how they flowed, I was like, I wonder what my word is going to be. I wonder what it's going to be because I opted for you to choose it because
Right.
I didn't want to choose it. And I was so excited when I saw it because it was one that I see used so often in my vocabulary in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And the number one thing that I think was most common in how it landed, I'll go through a couple of them, was putting myself together. Get it
Hmm.
together, girl.
Hmm.
Get it together, girl. And so, what get lands, like what that means in that sentence, in that space, I'll use a couple of stories to illustrate. So, my 2020 was a get it together kind of year for
Hmm.
me. Because I ended up in the hospital for about 30 days, totally random things that had nothing to do with me. I ended up having a freaky kidney infection that I had no symptoms for.
Mm.
But I had a fever that rose as high as 109.3 when I was in the
Wow.
hospital. And they caught it. They figured out what it was finally, but I came in with only a fever, so they were just trying to find out what the heck was wrong with me, because a fever is related to every sickness in the world pretty much. So
Right.
yes, it was a challenge. It was one of those things. But as I laid there on the bed, dripping wet with sweat and overheated, um, I just remember seeing the nurse's face when she saw the numbers on the thermometer. And I was like, those numbers are too high. That number is
Mm.
too high, Lord. I'm not done. Coach, put me back in.
Right.
And get it together.
Mm.
Get it together. I have kids. I At that time I only had one, so I had a child. I was like, I have a kid, I have family, I have people that need me. I need me. Get it
Mm.
together. And by the grace of God, I'm here. I did not
Mm.
have a blackout. I did not have strokes or seizures or anything like that. I shouldn't be here. But I think it was one of those things that now that I get a second chance,
Mm.
now that I got it together, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do with this second, wind? How am I
Right.
actually going to utilize it so I get a second chance?
Mm.
Because I had to get it together. Like there's two different energies in both those sentences, but both times that same word is a key element in what
Mm.
happened for me.
Wow. Wow. I get that, right? I
Yes,
realize
exactly. Right? And
yeah,
it's
it's just it is really something.
Mhm.
I have on my desk, and this is coming. So this is first appearance of the duck that I have on the desk, and it's the reminder of me to get my ducks in order, right? Like,
I love it.
and so every once in a while I look and I like, I don't know where the heck my ducks are, but right, but
Oh,
I
that's
but
so
I need to
good.
get them right, right.
Oh
Um,
man.
but yeah, so I definitely feel that, and how for me, many times get lands for me is that I got to get moving. I
Mm,
gotta I gotta understand. Get understanding. There is something that is missing, right? There is something that
mm.
is missing that I have to find or get. And it is, how do I really embrace that I'm enough, right?
Mm.
When there's all these things that I gotta get,
Yep.
right? There
Yep.
is there is this feeling that I
FOMO,
am
fear of missing out. Yes.
right.
Yes.
I feel like that I'm complete, but at the
Mm.
same time I'm not aware of my completeness. So
Mm.
within that, there are things for me to get aware of, to
Yes.
get together,
Yep.
and it's turning into a place of not lacking, but really an awareness that there is more. I love it. Put me in, coach. I
Yeah.
got more to do. Right, there is there
Yes.
is there is more going on.
Right.
So yeah, I totally get that.
And it's one of those things that I think, even just in what you were sharing too, being enough or feeling worthy, we're never going to actually be able to fully appreciate the full splendor of who we are, created in the image and likeness of God, is my belief. And it's one
Right,
of those things that, how do we actually fathom that? How do we
right,
get that understanding? I think it's by living and breathing gratitude. Because
right.
if you come from that perspective of, I get to live today, I get to live because my heart is beating, I get to run, I get to play. It's one of those things where we so often focus on what we're not.
Right.
So when you have the show and it's like, what happens when we disconnect to
Mm.
reconnect?
Right.
If we allow ourselves just to take a moment and embrace the fullness of who we are,
Right.
we get to gain a new level of appreciation for everything that we've become over the course of our life, right?
Right.
Because we all start small. And you
Right.
probably hear in the background, you guys, whether you're listening to this audio or watching this live, I've got a 2-month-old in my arms. I
Mm.
get to hold him in my arms. I get to
Mm.
have the life of a mother, and I get to do that. Is it always easy? Absolutely not. Do not fool
Right.
yourself.
Wow.
But I get that opportunity, and I get to instill in them the gifts and love and
Mm.
faith and joy that I have. But what if I just focused on the dirty diapers, the sleepless nights, the selflessness of actually caring for someone besides myself?
Right.
We have, so the reason I'm sharing this part of the story is because we have the power to control how we look at things. Like, I'm
Right.
wearing a pair of blue light glasses right now. If I change the lens, if I change the pair of glasses, it'll change the way I look at things, right?
Mm.
So if you're finding yourself more in the space of not saying I get to and saying perhaps I have to,
Right.
maybe check in with yourself, disconnect for a little bit,
Right.
and ask yourself why. Is it coming from an area of pain? Is it coming from an open wound? Something
Right.
that needs to be taken care of? Because the fullness of your life is through the perspective of I get to, I'm blessed to, I'm
Right.
going to. Um, because that's a life of opportunity, not a life of wishing, because you'll end up wishing for something that you'll never have, something that somebody else has, and that's not your story, your purpose, or your destiny.
Right. Oh, I so much appreciate that. When, when I got aware of my life, or at least part of my life, right? Because there's this, it's like I know myself and I'm still knowing myself, right? Right.
Yes,
Um,
totally,
right. Yeah,
totally.
yeah, and there was so much of my life that was have to, right?
Yep.
And so it was like, and I did my have tos, right? I was checking off the box. I was doing all the things that I have to, but there was this level of resentment. There wasn't a level of
Ooh,
appreciation. There was a level of resignation because of all the have tos in my life.
yep.
And the more that I started to really, like you said, embrace the get to,
Yeah,
it's like a privilege. It's like an honor, right?
absolutely.
And it's really, I I have, well, look, I have to, I get to see, I still have that in, I still
Me
have that in
too.
our
Me
language, right?
too. Yes, totally.
But I'm so glad when I become aware, then I have a choice to,
Yep.
to change the word, because
Yep.
then I'm changing the power, I'm changing the emphasis.
Absolutely.
So, I get to be aware of how I'm speaking,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So it allows me to show up in my life. I say things like that we are a unique expression of God.
Mm,
And so when we show up as ourselves, God shows up.
yes, I believe
And
that.
and many times when we feel that, I'll speak for myself. Many times when I feel like God is not present in the situation, it's because I'm not there.
Ooh, that's a word.
And it's just really because the expectation of who am I supposed to be, or what am I supposed to do, all that has nothing to do with who I am, and how I was made.
Mm,
And so I really get to show up as myself on a daily basis. And the more that I take that on and really embrace that,
right.
then I can like myself. I can know myself on a level that only I,
Yes.
know how important, and how, say, relevant. I don't know why that word's coming up for me, but how
And
relevant I
incredible.
am for that,
Yeah.
in this situation.
And I think it's so crucial that what you were saying is, so many times, we're going through crazy turmoil in the world and business and lives across the globe.
Hmm.
The number one thing that I took away from what you were just vulnerably sharing, William, is the fact that how can you expect God to show up if you're not showing up?
Right,
God is willing to meet us, but are we actually going all in?
right,
Are we actually, and it's one of those things that in my crosses that I carried in 2020, we all have crosses. I'm just
right,
talking about mine. So please don't feel that any of you listening, yours is less than, less heavy, any of those things.
right,
The cross you're carrying was meant for you, and only you are able to fulfill the purpose that it will proclaim
Right.
ultimately for God's glory. But for me, the number one thing that I took away from what you were saying is, as I was going through my turmoil, I kind of had this visualization of our Lord carrying the cross.
Hmm.
And it was one of those things where I was like, are you kidding? I have to pick up the cross again. I'm done. It was the second time I was in the hospital. I went in for an appendectomy at 27 weeks pregnant.
Hmm.
And it was one of those things where I had gone into the hospital and they sent me home. They said it was nothing.
Hmm.
And, deep down in your gut, you're like, Lord, there's something wrong. I don't know what it is, but you surrender and you do what you can.
Right.
And by that next morning, my appendix burst before I got into surgery, and as a repercussion, I was in the hospital for 10 days. It's just the way it
Hmm.
was.
Right.
So I felt like, Lord, I have to pick up my cross again. Are you kidding? And I see him on this path, and he's just dripping in blood from the crown of thorns and weak and carrying this massive cross. And he turns around and he's like, you're really going to ask me that question as I
Hmm.
carry this? And it was just like, wow, he didn't ask me to lead the way. He didn't ask me to, do anything but pick up the cross and follow him. He's the one paving the path. I don't have to
Right.
do any of that. He's
Right.
carrying the weight of the world. I just carry mine. And it was just one of those things where it turned the perspective into, I get to. So now I
Right.
have shared my story of being like, hey, having an appendectomy while pregnant, you can do it. You
Right.
can live through that. You
Wow.
can make sure to take care of yourself. We were talking about, am I enough? You
Hmm.
are so enough. You are worthy of that time to heal. I took a step away from my business and I left it in the hands of my partners. And I was like, hey, I gotta take a time out. I'm on the bench for a little bit. Not
Right.
because I didn't want to serve and show up, but because I knew in order to take care of people at the level that I desired to, I would need to take care of me first.
Right.
And so, for people
Wow.
just to realize, regardless of where your journey, what your cross has been recently or in your past, it is a part of helping you become everything that you were called to be. And if you don't embrace it and allow it to help transform you,
Right.
you're missing out on a level of life that only you can enjoy. And
Right.
I know that is true for me, and I know it is true for you.
Yeah. No, it's like, again, I get it. It's like, it's just so funny. It's
Such
like,
a good word for
I,
today.
I know. It's just really, um, really feeling there's something I do, a morning reflections show, and I try not to call it a show because it's like it's a part of my meditation, and
Mm.
I just felt the led to kind of do it online. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sometimes, those things,
I love it.
and there are, some people that I'm connected to that get an opportunity to see that side of me. But
Mhm.
this morning, what came up, and it just I was just reminded it when you were speaking, is that, and this is how it came up. I was looking in the mirror today, when I was getting ready, but I didn't have my glasses on. Usually, I have my glasses on when I'm getting ready. I just find way, because I can see, but I can't see. So
Sure. Yeah,
I
totally.
just I just have the glasses on just to kind of make, yeah, focus on, I guess the things that I need to focus on. But I was looking at myself without my glasses on, and I didn't recognize myself. I didn't see what I expected to see. I expected
Wow.
to see myself with glasses on. And what I was, what the invitation that came to me was, um, see without expecting so you can see.
Wow.
And so I really, without judgment, I just kind of just wanted to look at and say, what do I get to see? Not to expect to see, but because I'm in this moment, I get to see, I get to be with, I get to acknowledge.
Wow.
And sometimes that is totally different than what, most of the times the disappointments or the suffering in my life is because I have an expectation of what I'm supposed to see, what
Yes.
I'm supposed to, what I'm
Thank
supposed to
you.
hear.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
And then it's like I'm like upset about it, and it's like, dude, just what do you see? Right? It's like,
Yes. Well, and it's so incredible. I just have to go off on a tangent with that word of expectation. When we put the expectation into others, into the bucket that we expect others to show up, how we expect them to deliver, what we expect of them to do for us, it takes the responsibility away from ourselves. And it's
right,
so much easier when we put it on somebody else. That
right,
is not how life works. That
right,
is not how life works.
right,
You get to take full responsibility for every single minuscule and monumental moment in your
right,
life. And when we become okay with that, our
mm,
disappointments change.
right,
Our pain points are actually valid pain points where, like, something, you lost a loved one or something like that, where it actually
right,
matters. And we don't get caught up in all this trivial stuff that is meant to distract us. I believe that the
right,
devil is out to hit us at our weakest links, where appreciation, fame, recognition, love, all those things that we need as humans, he's
right,
out to pick on the little itty bitty things that will tear us apart in the long run. And so when
right,
you mention that word expectation, why are we expecting other people to be responsible for our happiness?
right. Wow.
Why?
Mm,
Why do we do that as a nation, as a world?
mm,
That's not how God created it to be. He is the source of happiness, and us being in cooperation with him is the greatest joy that we can ever experience. And
right,
I'm not here to preach, that's not the purpose of this, but I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't share with you the genuine reason why I do have the mindset I get to
right,
every single day.
right.
Wash the dishes, do the laundry. I still do all the homemaker things for my family, and I'm so honored and privileged to do that. But I also get to help my clients build monumental businesses, 6, 7, 8 figures. I do get to work with my business partners. I do get to host a great podcast. I get
Right.
to do all those things because
Mm,
of the person that created me, with the gifts and talents that I'm utilizing to bring him honor and glory. And so
wow.
when I change the expectation of what are they going to do for me to what do I get to do for them?
Mm,
How do I get to magnify them? How do I get to bring light to their gifts, to
right.
who they are? How do I get? And it's so funny because on Clubhouse I hosted a room last night that is now going to be a weekly venture, and it's all about how do I get to bring other women to the table?
Mm,
How do I get? People are waiting for the invitation.
right,
I'm telling you, take the step up. You don't have to wait for an invitation. If you are here with a heart beating, you have a purpose that needs to be completed. So you
right,
better get to it.
right.
Get to it, you guys. You ladies, men and women alike, I don't care. It's one of those things where it's like, why are we waiting on anyone else? That
Right.
expectation is so approved in society. And I'm just ready to shatter it and be like, done.
Right.
Because and I know that that starts with ourselves. We have to
Right.
lead ourselves first. And so that is a daily adventure that I'm trying to create in my life, and I get to experience. But I love, and I had to just really bring out that word and that mentality of expectation
Right.
in our
Wow.
lives and businesses today. I love that you shared that, William. That was so powerful.
Oh boy. In the short amount of time, in the short amount of time that we have been talking, I get you, right? You know?
Thank you.
um, and
Yes.
and that is something that I will honestly say that it has been hard within our society. And I
Mm,
think there is one reason why I have conversations at one word at a time, right?
yes.
Is because there are many times that I feel like people are just saying things, and I don't get it. I don't get what you're trying to say. I don't get you. I don't. But but you're just talking, right?
Yeah.
And so the more that I'm willing and patiently um, creating the space to
Mm,
really connect with people on a level that makes a difference,
yes.
then we're seen and heard.
Absolutely.
And that's my desire. That's my passion.
Mm-hmm.
That was my story for a number of years. That no one understood me. No one wanted to help me. Yeah, I wasn't there, right? I
Yep.
was living everybody else's expectations, who they thought I should be, and
Like
like I was
so
saying
many
before,
others, though, William. So many
right?
others. Yep.
And I think we get lost. We get lost in that, and that's why the conversation around labels is more about identifying what's you and what's not you.
Mm,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm a business owner and I'm not a business owner, right?
Yes.
I'm you know I'm I'm a
I have
black
a
male and
lovely
I'm not,
relationship with them. Absolutely.
right. And I'm not, and it's like the more that I'm able to show up not as that, then I can show up as myself,
Right.
as I get
Exactly.
to show up as myself. And there's
Absolutely.
so many there are so many relationships, and there's
Hmm.
so many um, opportunities for us to show
Yeah.
up,
Absolutely.
that I don't want to say we miss, but
Mhm.
it's I think we're conditioned to. And I sometimes I hate to say, conditioned and programmed and all that, but sometimes it feels like we have to be reprogrammed or unconditioned and all of
Yeah.
those.
I think you're onto something, William, because it has to do with our RAS, our reticular activation system. What we
Mm,
allow ourselves to take in our brain as normal
mm,
becomes what we expect. And
mm.
so, if we expect and have expectations of other people to be responsible for us and our happiness and our business and our lives, it doesn't matter what. If you expect that, that's going to be just something that becomes a belief, a
Right,
subconscious belief in your brain. There's no malice, there's no intention that you did that on purpose. I'm not saying that at all, but what I
right,
am saying is that you are still responsible for the fact that that is how you believe. You are
right,
still responsible that that is how you act. You are still responsible because that is how you show up in relationships.
right,
So if that is going to be a change, it starts with that awareness that we typically only become truly able to harness if we stop.
right.
And so when you
Mm.
said, I don't want to say that people miss or this, I'm going to say it. People miss it because we're going too stinking fast. We're going too stinking fast. The world is going faster than it has ever been before, and it will continue to increase its speed
Right.
in internet, and the reason why I want to talk a little bit about business is because I believe relationships have gone downhill significantly since we turned online. And so
Right.
one of the big pillars that I speak on and that I've helped support several businesses with is communication in the virtual space. How do you
Mm.
create this energy through a screen? You're
Right.
not in my kitchen. I'm literally sitting in my kitchen right
Right.
now, and I've got Barney on for my 2-year-old, and I've got a 2-month old in my arms. You're not here, but you are here.
Right.
You get
Wow.
to be in this conversation with me, and I get to be in your office with you and really deliver this powerhouse of a just message because we took the time to stop and say,
Right.
this is what we want to deliver. This is
Right.
how we are intentionally going to bring light to the power of this word and this conversation. And
Mm.
I think that people feel so disconnected because they're not allowing themselves the moment
Mm.
to even be connected.
Mm.
And you have
Wow.
to be before you're connected. So that goes
Right.
back to the cards. I am worthy. I am enough. I am complete. You are because of how you were made. You were made in the image and likeness of God, of the ultimate being.
Right.
There is nothing more that you need.
Mm.
It's all within you. And I don't know if you watch Frozen or Disney or anything like that, but
Yeah, I've
one of
I've
the
had my
most
years of Disney and Frozen too. Right.
Oh, okay. So Frozen 2, the reason that I love the song Show Yourself is because in one of the lines, she so passionately states, "You are the answer you've been waiting for all your life.
Mm.
You are the answer." God didn't
Mm.
make you incomplete so that you'd have to be searching, you'd have to be doing this. He made you complete with Himself
Right.
because you are enough. You are enough. He made you enough. You need
Mm.
nothing more. You're not missing out. You're not having to do anything.
Right.
You get to live this life He's giving you. You get to breathe the air and oxygen he's giving you. You get to share the message, have the show, have the conversation, build a relationship, build the business, raise a family, whatever that is.
Right.
You get to do that because it is a gift he's given you, which is what we call the present.
Right.
How how long will it take for mankind to stop, to be,
Mhm.
to truly connect to what is going on in our world? I don't know.
Wow.
But I know William and I are so grateful to be here today talking
Mm.
with you guys about this, because it's not something that I'm only passionate about. It's something that we both are passionate about, and we get to share that with you in this conversation today.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's oh, there's been so many moments within this conversation, and I within my coaching, I use the be do have model,
Yes.
and most of my conversations are about awareness or in the be
Yes.
category, right?
Yeah.
And I think too often we are again conditioned or programmed to just
Yes.
do. So
Yep.
right. So the do we are so busy doing,
Mhm.
and then because we're doing, we have what we have, all the things that we have, and then we find no fulfillment in that because it's not a part of our being.
It's sad.
And so I am inviting people to, as I say, learn who they be.
Yes.
So there is a doing in their being, so they
Mhm.
have what's for them,
Yep.
what has been designed, for them, and it's very it's like easy but not simple,
Right.
because there's so many times um, that we just feel like, what, I just need to be doing something. Even when I introduced my duck, I don't he doesn't have a name,
Oh, you
but
should name him.
it's like, it is the feeling that I need to get my ducks in a row. I need to
Mhm.
be doing something. I need to be doing this better. This needs to happen. And it's like, it's not in support of me. And I
Mhm.
think I love how you said one of the things that is important to you is self-care. I can't remember if it came up within the conversation or before the
Right.
conversation, type of thing. But, for me, a long time, and I hate to admit this, and I think I've said this before online, but sometimes when you're in the moment, this feels like
Yep.
the first time I ever said it, right? But is that I thought self care was like bubble bath and candles, and I was like, I don't got time
Mhm.
for that, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's not self care. Self
Mm.
care is learning about what you need. The more that I
Yes.
know about myself, I know what I need to replenish myself, to really show up for myself and show up for other people.
Mm.
And the more that I'm willing to sit with myself, right? And just say, okay,
Yeah.
what do I need?
Right.
What am I not aware of, because I'm complete, right? Because I have enough. I am enough. What am I, because of the distractions of my life and the
Mhm.
doings of my life, that's
Yeah.
causing me to feel like I'm missing something?
Yes.
Just sit with that, and then I'm taking care of myself.
That's so incredible. That's so incredible. And there's a couple of points that I have to touch on. So, one of them is we're human beings,
Mm,
we're not human doings.
mm,
That is the number one thing that I share with a lot of the women that I coach. I do coach men as well, but especially women. We're so programmed to give, to give, to give, to give, to give.
mm.
We don't know how to just give ourselves
Right,
a breath,
right,
and I think so many of the social norms and stigmas is that the modern woman can't really win. If you work, you're a bad mom. If you're not working, you're a freeloader. If you're doing if you're just a woman without kids, you obviously don't care about family and legacy. Like,
right,
it's the woman, modern day woman cannot win. But
right.
you don't have to win. You have to win you. You
Mm,
have to win by fulfilling the purpose that God gave you, not by what the world wants you to do. You do not have to live according to the opinions of other people. So I
wow.
just want to empower the listeners that you have, men and women alike. You are not defined by what the world is thinking of you. Their definition of you is a mirror of themselves. So do
Right,
not fall prey to that and
Mm.
realize that all you have to do is realize that you get to be a part of the masterpiece that God has created, and you hold the puzzle piece that is your purpose, and you
Right.
get to put that and complete everything of who you are someday. And
Right.
that's the mission that we are on. That's the mission we all are on together. And I just want to encourage you, you are a human being. So
Mm.
don't get lost in the doing. And then, super fun fact about me, I have something on my desk that reminds me about kind of my mess is my message. And
Uh,
so, kind of like getting the ducks in a row,
right.
it's actually the molds of my teeth.
Mm.
I was like 10 years old when I had braces, and bless the orthodontist's hands that helped me have this smile. If you're watching live or seeing the replay, you can see this. If you're on the podcast, you won't see it, but you'll have to go check out the video. I have a great smile now,
Right.
but it is not how I started.
Mm.
And so when I look at that mold, my scary mold of teeth, it's really terrible. They look
Right.
awful. And I don't have it handy, otherwise I would show on camera.
Right.
It reminds me that usually the greatest things in life start as a mess.
Mm.
And it reminds me of the message that the first four letters in the word message is mess.
Mm.
MESS. It's a big old mess, typically before it's created to be a message. So I am privileged to go through a lot of messes in my life. But that
Mm.
means that I have an even stronger message that can build rapport, connect, and build relationships with people that I never thought I'd be able to touch.
Right.
In
Mm.
2020 alone, I went through a lot of things that now have brought me to places I never imagined. I'm a NICU parent. I'm, a survivor of crazy high fevers. I started a business. I got partners. Now I'm in a whole new world and levels playing with people that I never thought I could touch.
Right.
But it's because I allowed myself to grow through the process and coming back to that mindset of I get to, because
Right.
I am enough. God knew I could handle it. So
Mm.
there must be a lesson that I'm supposed to take away from this. And so
Right.
even seeing the mess, my crazy teeth, every
Wow.
time I smile, it's like, you know what? It can happen. That's
Wow.
like a reaffirming of this is okay. We can do this. And
Mm.
then the last point that I wanted to wrap up with, based on the portion that you had just shared, was, for so many people right now, you may not know where it is that you need to go for self care. You may
Mm.
not know what your level of self care is, and that's okay. I just want to give you that confirmation that it's okay to not know, but it's not okay to stay there.
Mm.
So if you're in that place where you're like, I don't even have the space to think about it, schedule some time for the weekend,
Right.
block off a half hour, whatever it is, and realize that if you're not where you want to be, it's okay,
Mm.
but don't stay there. You
Right.
can't quit because you get to live this thing we call life. So don't
Wow.
throw it away.
Hmm. Wow. Uh, here, it's like, um, it's like every time um, you share, you're sharing on a level, not just from um, your knowledge, but from your heart. And I think that's the one thing that you mentioned that you have a show.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the one thing that when people ask me, what have I learned from having this show, is
Good
that
question.
I've learned how to be a better listener. And this is what I mean, is that before I thought I was a good listener. And I would listen to everybody's words, and I would hold people to their word. And it was like, this is what you said, and that, so I know.
Yep.
Um, However, what I what I learned and what I'm learning is that there's a conversation beyond our words.
Yes.
And if you can listen to that, then someone is heard. And you speak on a level, or I can, and I say I hear on a level to hear that gives people the grace and the space to really get aware of themselves and really see where they are and not judge that. I like to play with message also, right? And
Yes.
so the mess and age, right?
Oh,
Mess.
so
It
true.
takes time, right? So
Yes,
it's like
so
the
powerful.
time with, and it's not I'm like stuck in my mess, but the mess, my awareness of it, the appreciation of it,
Mm,
really through time,
yes.
really together, allows us
Mm,
to have that message, in our willingness to share it.
yes.
Most of the times I've learned for myself on this self-discovery journey is that there were many parts of myself that I was hiding.
Mm,
I was hiding so much. I was hiding from myself and other people, right? You know, and then I
mm,
would forget that those were there, and they would show up every once in a while, and it's like, who the hell is that, right? You know, and it's
yeah.
like, oh, that's me too,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, powerful.
And the more that I've been using this in coaching, and I don't know, it just came to me. It's like, in order to get the value of a coin, you have to have a recognizable both sides, right?
Mm,
If I don't recognize the back, if I can't tell what's on the shadows, right, the
yep.
backside of it, there's no value. And there's
Mm-mm.
so many times that I have been hiding and keeping people from recognizing that, you know what, I can be a jerk sometimes, or I can be not nice, and I can do
Yep.
all the things that are not. But those are parts of me, not for me to live in
Mm-hmm.
and to, like, have a badge about it,
Right.
but to use for the moment that I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
or how
Absolutely.
I'm seeing that moment, but not stay in that moment, but also bring grace and some other parts of me in that moment too.
Mm,
I really get that I get to show up
so
full,
powerful.
whole, complete, and be okay with that. There's
Mm,
sometimes people say that, oh, you're so vulnerable, and I was like, I'm just being myself, right?
yeah.
I've just got so tired of only showing you this one-dimensional nice guy side of myself, and then on the backside of that saying, oh, they really don't know me. Well, I didn't
Right.
show them me,
Right.
so there was no way.
And
So
that's the incredible part of the online space right now. After everything that's happened in 2020, um, everyone went online, and so now the real good communicators are being separated because they're outstanding the bad poor communicators,
right.
and the people that are actually showing up raw and real have integrity and credibility that create currency in their businesses, in their lives.
Mm,
And the other people are without because they're not willing to show up, they're not willing
wow.
to show and play full out.
Mm,
That's a choice.
wow.
We all get to make it,
Right.
but we all may choose different choices.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that have asked me the question too. I suck at sales sometimes when it's the fact that I want to give because I just want to give. It's not because I want to earn. It's because I want to give.
Right.
And so I'll be transparent with people and be like, hey, I hate sales, but I'm going to tell you the truth. If you don't do this, you're not going to make your quota. You're not going to make what it is that you need to do. You're not going to actually bust through that mindset unless you really
Right.
invest in yourself. And I think that the fact that you were addressing that, sometimes there's dark parts of us that we don't like, it doesn't mean that they're not there. And you have to address it, whether it's a trauma, a pain, a vice of some sort. We are all
Right.
imperfect,
Right.
but we can be imperfectly perfect in the
Right.
sense that we are striving for more and we are always becoming. Because heck, I can tell you, I got no patience for people that don't actually follow through with their word. If
Mm,
you're not accountability to your if you're not accountable to yourself, how can I trust you to be accountable to me?
wow.
How can I entrust that you will actually, show up as a collaboration, as a mentor, as a leader? How can I trust you? How
Right.
can I trust you? And so it's one of those things that I just felt so much the power behind what you were sharing as a part of your transformation journey, because that's been something for me as well. And I love that we share that appreciation together. That's so incredible.
Mm. We can talk about this for hours. However, right?
You know that's true. You know that's true. So true, William.
Is there anything that has come up in this conversation that you'll want to leave everybody with? I think you said so many. So
Thanks.
if you were here, you need to watch the replay. If you're watching the replay, you need to watch the replay again, right? So because
Right?
there is a lot
Ah,
of stuff. So I would love for you to leave us with something.
I think the number one thing that I would just love to leave is kind of a word of encouragement. 2021 is a clean slate, you guys. I don't know what it is that you've been through. I don't know what it is that you experienced, but we get another shot. And a lot of people look at the year as an opportunity. I want you to even break it down smaller than that. We have a new month. We have a new week. We have a new day. You have a new
Mm,
hour. You have a new minute. If
mm,
there was a bad minute in your day, it doesn't make it a bad day. If it was a bad day, it doesn't make it a bad week. We control that.
mm.
We don't control how many days we have, but we control what we do with them. And we get the chance to fulfill our purpose. So don't let 2020 define your future. Get out, define it for yourself, and become all that you are created to be. Because we
Great,
get to do it together. So
great.
let's do it.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Get it together. Get it together. Right.
I'm with you guys, right? I'm so with
Right.
you too. We're doing it together. Let's
Right.
go.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. This has been a lovely
Yeah.
conversation.
Thank
Um,
you so much.
I really I hope you can say our goodbyes in the green room. But this has been great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh boy, uh, there's just a level of appreciation of the people that I get to meet because I do this show. I just there's just an appreciation of that. I say happy today at the beginning of my show, and how that shows up to me, and why I say that is that happy shows up for me as appreciation and gratitude, and today is now is all that we have. So I'm inviting you to have gratitude and appreciation now. So just to explain some of the things that I say, sometimes I just say things, but it is so honored to get to be in these type of conversations. So I hope you got something out of this, not just for today, but for your life. I invite you to reach out to me at IamWilliamBrown.com for a complimentary coaching session. Because the world wants you, the world needs you, but the world isn't waiting for you. So go be you. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow on One Word Conversations.